Hi, I'm CJ Elmer at Transwest Truck Trailer RV in Frederick, Colorado. We've got a brand new Logan Coach Bullseye 4-horse gooseneck sitting behind us here. This is a 2026 model. So let's walk you through this trailer. Before we start showing you all the options on it, let's go ahead and take a look at the drawing and I'll show you how the trailer lays out. This trailer here is a touch over 18.5 foot on the floor. So a very manageable trailer to get around. It is standard 6'9" wide on the Bullseye model and standard 7 foot, and we have that front tack room on it. So let's walk you through the trailer. We'll show you some of the options on it. Logan is a galvanized steel frame aluminum body, okay? So you have that strength of the steel. It's gonna lighten it up and then give it that aluminum look with having that aluminum body. You're gonna have an 8-year structure warranty, a 2-year hardware warranty, and you're gonna have a lifetime corrosion warranty since it's a galvanized steel trailer, which is fantastic because versus black steel that can rust, the galvanized isn't. So let's walk through this. These Bullseyes have been really popular for us, whether it's our bumper pulls or goosenecks. Underneath the gooseneck, you're gonna have your manual crank jack. Okay, nothing too crazy right there. Spare tires located to the left of that. But I want you to notice underneath here all this Vortex lining. Vortex lining is like a bed liner. This stuff is really strong, really durable. They incorporate it in the stall area, and I think it really deadens a lot of the noise there too. But this stuff here is fantastic from the standpoint of underneath this gooseneck. If you live down dirt roads, gravel roads, road blast will beat up the front of these trailers. Not to say a rock can't do damage, but believe me, this stuff is so strong. You can take a pop can and Vortex line it, and you can stand on it. You know, an empty pop can. You know how thin that aluminum is and so easy to crush. But if you Vortex line it, I mean, you can stand on it. It's really strong stuff. So they incorporate it throughout. So it's underneath this gooseneck area, and then the drop wall. Right up behind the coupler is gonna be a light, okay? So it's right underneath here, an LED light. Because our cargo light's gonna get blocked by the front of the truck or front of the trailer a little bit, you can, you know, pivot that if you want, get some light coverage when you're hooking up, or if you're having to possibly get that spare or do something underneath, maybe just even hooking up. Okay, this one's white sheeted, that's standard. Silver, champagne, charcoal, those are really popular options. There's no upcharge for those. If you want to go with a black or a matte black, there's an upcharge there, but they can do some custom colors as well. But on this guy here, it's gonna have the front tack room. This is the standard front tack. First thing you're gonna get is this heavy duty tack door that Logan builds themselves with it. 4-tier blanket pole rack that pivots out, snaps back, locks into place, and then a brush tray. Brush trays are great. You almost can't have enough of these guys. These are great catch-alls for everything. Your fly sprays, any type of, you know, liniments, brushes, hoof picks, about anything can get thrown in here, and it usually does happen. With this front tack room, you're gonna get your swing out saddle rack. So since this is a 4-horse, you're gonna get the 4 saddle pads themselves. These are adjustable on this. These used to be fixed. Logan made it to where they're adjustable. So if I wanted to remove some, I could. If I want to adjust spacing, I can. But you got those 4 guys there. Pay attention. You have some room to work between the swing out saddle rack and then this door frame itself. A little bit wider door makes a big difference for multiple reasons. One is just getting in and out of the tack room when this is in, you know, in the extended position, or even when it's in, it gets out of the way. But it also helps keep saddles away from the door frame itself. So when you're swinging this back in or out, you're not dragging saddles on the door frame when you're operating that. As we come in, there's carpet on the floor, carpet on the drop wall, and on the deck itself. Up in the deck, you've got, you know, a couple windows so you can see out, create a cross breeze. You can throw a mattress, you know, sleeping bags, roll, you know, bed rolls, anything like that. There's plenty of room there. There's an LED light in the nose, and then there's going to be another one directly above the door itself. On the partition wall, we've got a set of hooks with carpet behind it. The carpet behind it does a couple things. It'll make it to where it protects everything on this wall itself. You know, a lot of times we'll see some trade-ins come in on some older trailers and they have just the aluminum sheet behind the actual bridle hooks, and you'll get that kind of quarter moon just scratched into it because everything moves as you're traveling. So it's going to protect that, but it's also going to deaden that noise. So it's not like metal to metal contact. You know, you think about your bits rubbing against this, that's not what we want. And it'll also make that noise. So carpet there, below it's going to be that Vortex lining. Again, I'll point out that Vortex lining as we continually walk through this trailer itself. You probably noticed there's a hose hanging off of one of these bridle hooks. That's because behind that saddle rack is going to be a 25-gallon water tank. So it's gravity feed, just fill at the bottom. You take this hose, you put it on there, put another ball valve on the end of that, and fill up your buckets right outside. You're not having to pack buckets from a distance, you know, trying to find that hydrant and that hassle. You've got water right here on the trailer. If you're traveling or if you have a horse that only likes water from home, it's nice to have that in here. Hopping up into the gooseneck area, there's a fold-up cleat. Really easy to operate, but boy, it makes a big difference when you're hopping up into that gooseneck area, making it a lot simpler. Now there is an LED light directly above this tack. So there's two switches right inside this tack door. Okay, one of them is going to be for the front tack door lights itself, and the other one is going to be for this exterior load light right there for you. So they made that a standard. Wherever you have a front tack room, you're going to have that load light. But then you're also going to have your load light kind of splitting, you know, stalls 2 and 3 back there on that top rail. So we have plenty of load lights on the exterior of this trailer. You have button lights on the top rail. They've added a few extras to it. I don't know, it's kind of nice to have the lights on the trailer. It looks good at night. And then you're going to have 4 bus windows. So with your bus windows, you know, it's a slider, so only half of them open. So they tried to maximize the size of the windows, try to get as much airflow as we possibly can. And then you're going to have 4 tie rings on the outside. And then if you notice, there is that lower extrusion. So when they first came out with this model, they would take an aluminum sheet and put some bends to it. So it's kind of like an extruded sheet. Well, they've actually gone to their actual extrusion that they use like on all their stock trailers, and then their standard model Riot horse trailers, that's the same extrusion. So it I think dresses the trailer up, but it also makes it stouter, and it protects that, you know, side of the trailer. If you have somebody that kind of maybe wants to paw or beat up the side of a trailer a little bit, it's going to be a lot more durable there. Axles on this guy, we have 2 6,000-pound Dexter rubber torsion axles. They're electric brakes, so obviously tow vehicle will either have to have an integrated brake controller or an aftermarket. We could help you if you need an aftermarket. You're going to have the 16-inch aluminum wheels. That's an upgrade we like to put on ours. These are black with the silver. I think it ties in with the extrusion and then the window frames themselves, so matches that color really well. But standard is a steel rim, and we like to go ahead and put like that water tank on it. We like to put the aluminum rims. These aluminum tires, you know, as long as you don't beat them up, these wheels will look really good down the road. It just kind of helps just the visual look of the trailer, and then also, you know, return on investment when it comes time to trading it in or reselling it. So 10-ply tires, you can have a 1-year no questions asked warranty on those tires through the vendor that they use, Lion's Head, so you don't go through Logan for that. But you know, if you have a blowout, you catch road debris, if you catch a nail or a screw, you know, somewhere and it hits the sidewall and it can't be patched, you know, they'll stand behind it, and that's from the date you purchase it, so they really stand behind the product itself. So there's always add-ons. So like if you want a hay rack, we can help you there. If you prefer a rear load with a ramp, we could remove that rubber bumper and do their bolt-on ramp right there that would be over the doors. So you'd shut your doors and then it's a ramp over. So there's always items that we can add to these trailers after the fact. So just because it doesn't have it on it doesn't mean we can't, you know, upgrade it and add those kind of aftermarket parts to it and make it exactly what you're wanting. So we have dual doors at the back. These are independent. The only difference is your driver's side door, this left hand that we're looking at, has got a little bit of a weather strip. And that's when we shut these back doors, there's just a sliver there of an air gap. And we noticed it one time when we brought some trailers in during the winter. You know, they drove through some snow, And right inside the stall area, there was a nice line, white line of snow that did just come in. So we said, hey, can you go ahead and add a weather strip to that? Now it's a standard option. LED light on that top rail as well at the back here. So again, there's a load light on each side in the rear that are gonna be on a switch on this back post. I'll show you, but you can turn all those guys on. And then there's, as we step into the stall area, there's gonna be 4 lights down that passenger side there, and they're on a switch too at the back here, so we can turn on all these interior lights as well. And then as we start opening stuff up, this back divider, as you can see, everything's padded solid, but this back one here is going to be a telescoping, and that's so we can shrink it down and actually clip it over here against the wall if we would like to, and we can shut the rear doors. If it was solid, we couldn't. That divider would stop about here and we're wasting some space. But then from there I can start clipping all these back and get them out of the way if we want. That way if you're loading, they're just held against that side. Again, padded, solid on those guys. And then they have the slam latches over here on passenger side. You see the recessed paddle latch there. They slam, so it's safer for you, safer for the horses. You're probably already noticing there's that Vortex lining again. It's on the kick mat. It goes up to the front against the partition wall itself. You see it on the upright posts. So again, they incorporate it throughout the trailer. And again, I think when we get to the stall area, it makes it a little bit quieter. You don't get the echo near as much on this trailer versus if it didn't have it on some other manufacturers. Aluminum roof, and then you're gonna have 4 two-way roof vents, okay? So we can manipulate airflow in here. We can force air down, we can release air. Don't forget, you have the bus windows on hip side, tail side, whatever you want to refer to it as. Again, those sliders will open, and then you've got some horizontal jail bars on there to protect those. But again, a lot of airflow. I'll show you the drop downs on the head side. We can create a lot of airflow throughout the trailer, keeping everybody nice and calm. On the floor itself, we're gonna have rubber mats, and then underneath is gonna be a wood floor with the Vortex lining. So on this model, you can upgrade to their aluminum floor if you want. But for the most part, we go with the wood floor with this Vortex lining. I'm not going to tell you you're not going to have to replace any of those boards, but my guess is you're probably not going to have to. The life and longevity of them are going to be so much better by having that Vortex lining on the actual floor itself, protecting that wood, you know, from urine or anything like that. And again, telescope it out of the way and slam it. Again, with the independent doors, you can shut them in either order that you want. Got them held open by holdbacks. So if you live somewhere where it's windy, get them out of the way. And then again, that weather strip there just, you know, seals up that gap right there so we're not getting that pulled in. And then those switches I was telling you about are right here. So load and stall are right here. So one's going to be your stall lights, the other one's going to be your load lights. In your tail lights, there's a little white strip right here. And what that guy will do is if you throw your tow vehicle in reverse, that will illuminate as like a backup light. So you have some light coverage out here. If you need some extra, you can actually run back here with your load lights, turn them on. Remember, you have one at the back, you have 2 at the side. You're gonna get home late at night or pull into some unfamiliar places where it's dark and you can't see what's going on. It's nice to have those lights. Then over here on driver's side, there's a good look at those drop down feed doors. So the feed doors and tack door, you know, they are built by the manufacturer, Logan. They're not prefab, so they're not really lightweight. There's a lot of framework to them. So they're really stout. We're gonna open and close these doors every single time we use this trailer, more than likely, so they need to hold up. You're also gonna get the jail bars, and they have window screens. They're just Velcroed, and then they slip over the top. So they're really easy to install or remove if you want them. So you can see how easy it is to shut them. But I want to show you too how easy it is to open them, because look where that latch is. That's a long ways up there. Well, they've got this cheater bar right here. This makes a big difference, especially if you're a little bit more vertically challenged, to just grab a hold down low, pull it towards you, and close, you just push it shut. All these are keyed alike, so you can lock these up in that tack door. They all share the same key. The only thing that if you wanted to lock up the trailer completely, obviously those rears, you'd have to throw some padlocks on those, but can easily be done. But again, these drop down feed doors and that tack door, you have that framework, so they're really gonna hold up. They're a lot stouter. And again, that cheater bar makes a big difference. And then you have some welded hinges on those as well. They've actually got a little hole that you can actually feed some grease into those if you want, you know, making them a little bit easier to maintain, open and closing them. So again, really just nice setup on this guy. We carry some of these in some 3s and 4s, and then we've kind of got the same model with some different tack setups. So we have options for you. So I'm going to give you the stock number for reference. Again, it's a 2026 Logan Coach Bullseye 4-horse gooseneck. Stock number is 5N250846. We do take trade-ins, so if you're looking to upgrade or downsize, we can help you there. Financing is available, and delivery is an option, so we could potentially bring this to your doorstep. So give us a call. Anybody on the sales team can help you out. That number is 303-684-3400. Appreciate you tuning in. Have a good day.